Hey, this is Johnny Hawkins from the band Nothing More, and you're watching Morecore TV.
Auch Nothing More waren dieses Jahr bei Rock am Ring und Rock im Park zu Gast, um vor allem mit den Songs ihres aktuellen Albums The Stories We Tell Ourselves zu überzeugen. Julian hat mit ihrem Sänger Johnny Hawkins über ihre Songs, ihre Tour und auch über das schwierige Thema seelische Gesundheit gesprochen, zu dem sich Johnny sehr persönlich geäußert hat.
Ja, wir sind heute mit Morecore TV und Nothing More bei einem Interview und wir haben Johnny von Nothing More bei uns. Er ist quasi der Vocal Part der Band. Hi Johnny.
Hey.
You just played your live show at Rock am Ring and well, I was at it and we were totally impressed. I took some friends with me and they never saw you. And I saw you like in January in Cologne. You had your tour there, and geez, you are delivering. You're like, I had an old review where they said you're like a mixture of Rage Against the Machine and the Blue Man Group. And how was it for you? I mean, first time, it's such a big festival in Germany.
Yeah. You know, there was two sides to the coin on this one. It was our first show of our European summer tour. So the first show is always cursed. There's always something that goes wrong technically or with the equipment because, you know, it's coming across an ocean. And we pull it all out the day before always and check everything. But there's always something that we miss. And today we had some technical issues. But then, you know, we got through it the first song and just kept trucking through. And then, you know, what I really appreciated was last time we were here at Rock am Ring, there was like 50 to 100 people. And so this time we saw hundreds of people, and that was nice. Uh-oh. So rude. So rude of me.
No, it's okay.
It was telling me to, it was from our last tour. I have all these reminders that tell me to warm up or take a nap or get some, just so it keeps my day on schedule. Anyway, outdated reminder there. But yeah, no, it was amazing to see everybody singing because last time we came, nobody knew who we were except maybe 5 people.
Yeah, it was at Morecore as well because we had like talks about the band and everybody was like, well, only Julian knows who Nothing More is. Let's have a look at him because he's like, well, you definitely should go to this concert because they're like delivering and they're tight and, you know, and they were really impressed.
Oh, good.
That's
I like
really
that.
cool.
Thanks.
And I reckon you were playing lots of the new songs and songs of your not the last EP, The Stories We Tell Ourselves, and the self-titled Nothing More. And I thought there was a bit of change in there. You had like a more proggy approach in the self-titled, and the new one was a bit more, well, I don't know how to describe it. How would you describe it?
God, I don't know. We made a few adjustments when we went into that record from the self-titled record. The self-titled record, I think, was more rock, guitar-based, progressive influence. Stories We Tell Ourselves was a little more, I don't know, it was a little more ethereal. The bass was driven harder. Like the bass filled up the aggressive parts more than the guitar, and we let the guitar go higher, which has a different dynamic and aesthetic than traditional rock, where the guitar is really driving it.
Yeah, you've got a special. They've got a really special bass. Like it's we really distinct.
Yes, we Dan and I work really hard in the studio at trying to make the bass drive a lot of the things because we find that a lot of rock bands just kind of tuck the bass away.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like dance and EDM like really brings the bass to the front.
Yeah.
So we were trying to find some kind of middle ground where the bass was driving rock and roll in a different way. So yeah, it does have a different sound than the self-titled, and we expect on the next record to do the same thing. We'll make another adjustment, you know, and just have each one evolving a little bit without without losing ourselves too far. But I'm going to take my jacket off. I'm actually getting really hot.
Do that.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I have to ask a personal question because as a drummer myself, and I saw that you drummed in the on the concert as well, and you were the former drummer of the band. Who writes these awesome drum parts in your songs? Because they're not like the typical rock drum parts. They're really like driving and going into the bass. They're really connected.
Oh, well, thank you. On the self-titled record and the record before that, If You're Not Fleeting, I played all the drums except I did all the drums on the If You're Not Fleeting and half of the record, the self-titled record. And our drummer Paul, who was our last drummer, he came in halfway through that process and laid down the drums. But I'm always involved in some way because that was my first love. You know, I started drums when I was 7. Our new drummer Ben, he did all the drums on the Stories We Tell Ourselves, which
cool.
actually gave me kind of a relief, gave me more focus on the vocals and production. And so but I got to be more behind the mixing board, talking through the glass, and I get to listen through the speakers and go, hey, try it like this, or hit that cymbal instead of this cymbal. It has a different effect and a sound, how it's mixing with the guitars, or, you know, take that one kick out, or do, you know, I got to be more in that position.
Yeah.
And it was really enjoyable because I got to finally really let go, which at first was a scary thing for me because it was such a part of me being the drummer.
Yeah.
And now I've really fully transitioned, I think, being a singer. And Ben's the man for the job, man. He's a much better drummer than I am, so I'm handing the baton off, and he's taking it much further.
Yeah, cool. I would go on to another topic that would be mental health. Maybe you know Tommy Vex, the frontman, the vocalist of Bad Wolves.
Oh yeah, I haven't met him yet.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't recognize the name. I was like, "Who?" It sounds familiar, but we're about to go on tour with them in the States.
Yeah,
with
I saw
Five
that.
Finger
I just reckon that you maybe know him.
Yeah.
And I had a interview some weeks ago with him about mental health as well, and I reckon that your songs are a lot about it. How do you feel writing about it, and especially promoting self-awareness? You know, I've saw a lot of posts on your Facebook page like Mental Health Day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty important. So how do you reckon that, or how would you describe these problems in the music industry? Is it increasing?
I would say the music industry is if there was a scientist who wanted to study mental health, the music industry is a bunch of monkeys in a cage. I mean, we're like, we're the first place you could go for mental health problems. I mean, I think being creative and mental health issues usually go hand in hand because you're usually borderline insane in some way, because I think to be a creative person, you're usually tapping into a very abstract way of thinking, and to be very abstract is chaotic. It's not orderly, it's not methodical, and that typically is the opposite of what is, like, you know, if you go to a mental health ward where they have people with very severe issues, like the number one thing is routine, waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time every day, like having a breakfast high in fats and proteins and all these things that musicians, creative people typically don't do. And so yeah, there's a big challenge with what we do, because not only are we already probably predisposed by being a creative type, but we're in an environment that doesn't help at all. I mean, there's a lot of alcohol,
Yeah, definitely.
there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of sleep deprivation and changing of hours and time zones. So it's hard to keep your shit together if you have mental issues. And I've even experienced it myself, and I wouldn't consider myself someone with severe issues at all. So it's definitely something in our world that should be understood so that we can help ourselves, you know, because we don't have our own shit together, we can't help anybody else, you know. So we start there. But yeah, I love mental health issues only because I've dealt with it myself, and personally with my family, my sister being probably the most severe in my family. But I think it's something that is so much more important today than in the past. I think in the past, like, physical issues were a huge focus because, I mean, that's number one. If you're not physically healthy, I mean, you don't even have a chance at being mentally healthy. But today we have so much food and water and the basics kind of covered. And so now we're focused on mental health because we're in a very unnatural environment in society most of the time.
I reckon that the song Jenny you published years ago, I don't know really when it was, but that was like I listened to it and it was the song about it. It was like I was like really hit because I'm working in the mental health business, if you call it like that in Germany. But it was like, well, this is really understanding. It's not just like the typical song about, you know, depression or anxiety or stuff like that. It was really hitting the point because it was many views about one issue and not really talking about it in a straight way, but describing the environment about it. I thought it was. Oh,
that's good to hear. Yeah, like I said, I dealt with it firsthand for years. And you have a different point of view if you've dealt with it.
Definitely.
With your own eyes, your own ears, your own perspective. Whereas if you've never really dealt with it one-on-one, it doesn't quite make sense.
No.
You can understand it intellectually, but it's different when you're really there.
Different.
Very different.
So, to a more pleasant topic now, I will go to your future plans. So you've got a big tour in Europe now. Is there something new on the way? You said you're maybe changing something on your next record or something like that.
You know, we still have a lot of touring to do on this record. We still haven't had a tour where we've played through all the songs on the record yet. You know, we've only had time to play about half of it. So we'll be doing a lot of touring throughout the rest of the year and maybe into next year. But we're already looking at starting to write and work on the next record in the near future and on the road. So, yeah, it's on its way. It's coming around the corner, but we still got a lot of touring to do.
Yeah, definitely. To maybe wrap it up, and, you know, I got the last question, and it's about, you know, your biggest jams at the moment. If you're touring, what are you listening, or the whole band, what are you listening to? Or what could you recommend, maybe something new?
I've been listening to this band Black Peaks a lot recently. They just released a new single that wasn't off their record, Statues, called I Can't Sleep. I think that's what it's called. I've been listening to that a lot lately. That whole record that they came out with maybe 2 years ago or a year, somewhere around there. They're a band I've been wanting to tour with, actually. And I just saw that they got dates for the Perfect Circle, which I'm really happy for them. Never met them, but they're one of those bands that I kind of heard of them before anybody else did. That kind of feeling. So I have a little bit of a pride and attachment to them. So I hope we get through with them someday. We've been jamming them. I'm trying to think what the other guys have been listening to. I'm trying to think. Mark's been listening to a lot of Biffy Clyro because that's kind of a new thing to us, being from the States. They're not very known over there.
Okay.
So we found out about them coming over here. To us, it's kind of in that Jimmy Eat World kind of sound.
Yeah.
That's, you know, band we grew up listening to. So we've really fallen in love with them as well.
Cool. Well, to wrap it up, das war Nothing More bei Moko TV und ja, euch noch einen schönen Tag.
Yeah, thanks for having me.